Welcome to your Around the Peninsula. I'm Specialist Tyler Ferris. There's a giant bird flying around Camp Mobile. Army Sergeant Ton Pham takes us in for a closer look at the majestic creature.
What we're trying to do is make sure our soldiers are prepared for a real world time mission in the event that we have to transport water, food, ammunition to our support companies that are in the fight.
Sergeant First Class Maria Estrada teaches about 30 soldiers on Camp Mobile how to properly sling load, which is hooking up something to a helicopter without it landing. One of those soldiers is the officer in charge of today's training, who also works in the same office as her.
She guided me to the right resources, answered any of the questions, and brought up a lot of good points that I wasn't thinking about at the time.
Sergeant Estrada's first time in a helicopter could stop most from flying, but not her. While training, she broke her hand and needed to be airlifted to Germany. Months later, she graduated air assault school because she loved the experience.
I was one of only 3 females that made it through the air assault course that year. And so I was pretty proud of myself. You know, it took a lot of gung-ho and pushing myself to the limit. Being air assault qualified and a senior airborne jump master, she has some advice for her soldiers, but it's also something she must remind herself. When you see this helicopter, the USCSC Black Hawk, go up, it's a beautiful sight, and it gets your blood rushing and your heart pumping. And I told him, you gotta be in control. Army Sergeant Ton Pham, Camp Mobile, Korea.
The ability to maintain supply operations through the air helps the 2nd Infantry Division stay ready to fight tonight. A lot of work goes into a successful F-16 mission at Kunsan Air Base. Airman Michael Connors illustrates what it takes to keep the pilots safe.
If a catastrophic failure were to happen, first thing they would do is come to the JOPE program.
JOPE, or Joint Oil Analysis Program, analyzes oil samples from jets for metals that are breaking down. Each jet and its engine has its own unique trend, or pattern, and for the JOPE airmen, the stakes are high to catch any abnormalities in the pattern.
It actually could bring down a jet, you know, if we're not catching something, if we're not trending it properly.
The different parts of the engine are made up of different metals, and depending on the abnormality found, the team contacts different shops to find the source of the problem. JOPE catches problems while they are still minor and prevent them from becoming catastrophic.
See the repercussions that happens, that goes along with it, the amount of man hours that are saved or lost due to us catching something. Inside, I take pride in that, and it makes me realize that no matter how much time I spend in here, at one point in time, every minute spent in here is well worth it because of what I saved. It makes me feel really good about my job.
JOPE airmen have a large responsibility, not only to the jets flying above Kunsan making it into the air, but staying in the air as well. Airman First Class Michael Connors, Kunsan Air Base, Korea.
JOPE is one part of the non-destructive inspection team. What if you could experience a piece of military history? Army Sergeant Junior Stone explains how some Camp Casey service members took advantage of an opportunity to relive a historic march.
So when you walk tonight, remember what you're walking for. While your feet may be sore and while you may develop a blister or two, do not dishonor yourself or disrespect all the past Manchus you are walking for by not finishing.
These soldiers are just about ready for a 25-mile road march known as the Manchu Mile. This tradition honors the rich history and heritage of the 9th Infantry or Manchu Regiment.
Quite excited for the first time doing the Manchu Mile. It's going to be a long day, but everything has an end, so it should go by quick.
When it comes to preparing for the Manchu Mile, a soldier might hear stories about a tough night of marching, but Private Lopez doesn't let that slow him down.
I barely got here. Some of the previous privates who were here in the company, they told us that, you know, that the Manchu Mile is gonna be worse, you know, so many hills and stuff. But I never took that as something to bring me down, you know. That's kind of like a motivation to challenge myself. Just keep your mind straight, just keep positive.
Just as the generations of Manchus who have marched before, the soldiers of 2-9 Infantry continue their march, never quitting, ready to fight tonight.
Keep up the fire.
Army Sergeant Junior Stone, Camp Casey, Korea.
Manchu.
The Manchu Regiment went right into combat after marching approximately 90 miles during the American intervention in the Chinese Boxer Rebellion. Vice President Joe Biden gained some insight on service members serving in Korea. Petty Officer Chris Church shows how the Vice President went to see what they do firsthand.
Vice President Joe Biden visited the Republic of Korea as part of a week-long trip to the Asia-Pacific region. While visiting, the Vice President took time out of diplomatic meetings to visit the Korean War Memorial. He participated in a wreath-laying ceremony honoring those from Delaware, his home state, whom lost their lives during the Korean War. After the Korean War Memorial, the Vice President took a helicopter ride up to the Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ, where he visited Observation Point Olet. Following a briefing and looking into North Korea, he met with service members to thank them for their hard work.
Private, how are you?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
He made his final stop at Freedom House, where negotiations between the North and South take place. The Vice President's three-day visit in Korea underscores the commitments of the U.S. administration to the rebalance in the region and alliance with the Republic of Korea. Petty Officer Chris Church, Seoul, Korea.
Korea was the last stop on Vice President Biden's Asia-Pacific trip before returning to Washington. U.S. Forces Korea service members have taken a work break to enjoy some winter fun. Senior Airman Brandy Durr describes how service members took advantage of their time off.
This is what experiencing winter in Korea looks like. The cold, fresh air and groomed slopes awaited approximately 75 U.S. service members. For many, this would be their first time on skis or snowboard.
I've wanted to learn to snowboard for a while, and I haven't had the opportunity, so this is a really good chance for me.
Pearson didn't let a few tumbles get him down.
It's hard keeping control, keeping your balance without going forward or backwards.
He had a great time at the Korean American Good Neighbor Society's end-of-year celebration.
I'm gonna try to go back down.
It's a good way for people that are working hard to take a break and get to relax a little.
After sliding down the mountain, Pearson and fellow service members splashed into a pool at an indoor water park.
Going swimming, I thought it would be a lot colder, but it was nice. It was relaxing. Your muscles are sore from snowboarding, from falling, and getting to relax in the water was pretty fun.
The two-day celebration ended with a banquet in honor of the service members' hard work.
Our aim is to help U.S. service members better understand Korean culture, make good friends and memories while staying in Korea.
Food disappeared, drinks flowed, bands played, and participants enjoyed the experience alongside their Korean counterparts. Senior Airman Brandy Durr, Seoul, Korea.
The Korean American Good Neighbor Society provides a variety of programs year-round for service members to take part in. Some USO trips are just as exciting for the celebrity as they are for the service members. Specialist James Muir tells us why one guest felt like a kid again when visiting Kunsan Air Base.
Myron Mixon and Adam Richmond are touring Korea to show support to the military members.
Thanks again, God bless. Thanks for coming to see us.
Adam Richmond is best known from his Food Network show, Man vs. Food. But the one thing people may not know is...
I'm a big military aviation geek, hardcore. I've been putting together models of fighter planes since I was about 5 or 6 years old. And I sat in an F-16 today, and I instantly went from 39 to 7 years old like this.
While many enjoyed getting to meet the chefs, this visit is significant to one airman because of the impact Richmond had on his family.
My daughters, Caitlin and Candace, they absolutely adore that show. So I had a plate signed for them so I can give it to them for a Christmas present. This was a good opportunity for me to give them something unique for Christmas.
But don't let him fool you. His daughters are not the only reason he wanted to meet Mr. Richmond.
With Adam Richmond, of course, I love food too, and being able to travel the world, being in the military, that's what this is all about. And that's what his show is about, is traveling around and trying different things and challenges. And I think that encapsulates everything of what we enjoy in the military, which is trying new things, seeing different parts of the world, and really being able to explore.
Although there was no food challenge, both chef and airman walked away with a smile on their face. Specialist James Muir, Kunsan Air Base, Korea.
USO tours aim to boost the morale of service members serving overseas by giving them an opportunity to meet some of their favorite celebrities. That was your Around the Peninsula for Thursday, December 12th. From all of us at AFN, enjoy your evening.